Hello everybody, today I want to show you a dashboard that was created by my colleague Sebastiano Federighi. This is why we created this dashboard. Where the pandemic is showing signs of slowing down, a lot of businesses are questioning themselves about how to reopen the work floor and how to allow their employees to come back to work in a safely manner. The CDC, that's the Center of Disease and Control Prevention, the CDC has listed a number of best practices for these companies. One of those best practices is that the CDC estimates that the company should take on the responsibility for contact tracing of their employees. So, put otherwise, if one of your employees would test positive, you as a company are responsible for knowing the whereabouts of your employee while he was working for you, and you're also responsible for knowing which people he might have been in contact with during that time. So how can you do so without any extra investments? That's what this dashboard is for. It's easily reusable by anyone who has a SaaS Visual Analytics license. It has two parts. In this first part, we're scrolling through a certain number of days. We're looking how many people were in the office on those particular days. We're checking on which floor they've been. In this case, floor C saw 6 people on that particular day or during this particular time range. This is not only interesting from a contact tracing perspective, it also helps you identify how much cleaning resources you would need for each of the areas, because you may not want to disinfect floor C as much as you want to disinfect the door handles or the restrooms in floor B, which clearly shows a lot more traffic. You can scroll through the list of who was when where. Obviously, this is anonymized, and you just see an employee ID. Now imagine that somebody gets infected. You go to the second part of the dashboard and imagine that employee with the ID 105 was infected. Let's look at employee 105. You get the whole network of connections get simplified to what you're seeing now. Okay, so now let's focus on the time that is most interesting. Let's say it's from the 4th of April until the 18th of April. You'll see that the network updates. You'll see that he's still been on all 3 floors, floor A, B, and C. We're still talking about employee 105. He's been on floor B, A, and C. And now let's zoom in on floor A. For instance, we click on A on the button. It will give us the dates on which he's been on floor A. With another filter on the bottom, we can now filter to see, for instance, who he might have infected on the 18th. And it will shoot an email saying, "Dear so-and-so, it's been brought to our attention that employee has tested positive. It shows that you have been in the offices at that same time. This is the procedure that we need you to follow." So this way the dashboard does two things. It tells you who has been in contact with an employee that's been infected. That's one thing. And the other thing is it shows you which floors are more in need of cleaning than others. In this example, we used badge data, but this can be augmented with any type of data that you can think of. If you have access to who's booking which meeting rooms from when to when, that can be introduced in this as well.